back.
Denise back.
We're Packman Paranormal.
Put your comments up there. Always
give
have to
me a sec. I just had to say hello. I had to say hello. Anyway.
You would not be able to do this without me.
I did it the last 2 weeks without you, and Squatch
I was in the room yelling at you from across the hall.
Yeah, but still, I survived. But anyway, I've got Denise Pack back this week with me, and we've got our good friend Greg Bakun coming on. If for those of you who know Greg, he does Ghostbox Live. He does a lot of things, but what you probably see most out of him is his Ghostbox Live sessions, where he does live spirit box sessions, and those are cool. I mean, there are a lot of great things that come across during those sessions, and he does them live on Facebook. You know, it can't be edited or faked or anything like that, and it's amazing to me. You know, if you've ever listened to a spirit box, a lot of times it's hard to tell what's coming through. But if you watch his shows, it's kind of cool when you'll see 7 or 8 people in the chat all at once say, I heard them say,
yep,
get out of there, or whatever, you know, just whatever phrase. Several people confirming all at once the same thing. That's pretty cool, I think. But anyway, Greg has become a good friend of ours. First time we met him was
quit yapping and bring him on here. He's behind stage looking at you talk.
Well, he likes looking at me, though. Here's Greg.
And when you're not around to look at you, then I just look at this, and this satisfies a lot on a lot of levels. That's all I'm going to say about that.
That is a great honor for you to have.
Hey, Chuck, first time
hello,
watcher.
Chuck. Well, join us again. We're here every Sunday night, and we're fun. We are.
He thinks
especially me.
He thinks he's fun.
Sassy. I'm fun. But no, like we were saying before we brought you up, when you do the Ghostbox Live, we tune in just about every time that we catch it on.
When we can. I sometimes have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, so I don't catch it on those nights.
Right. But I mean, it's just something that's really cool to us. I mean, I love spirit communication of all kinds.
There's Joanne.
Hello, Joanne. Good to see you again. Hope nothing there in Australia is trying to kill you right now, like usual. Everything in Australia wants to kill you. You know? But
I think she's in Australia.
I think she is.
Joanne, where are you?
Aren't you in Australia?
I don't think she's in Australia.
She'll tell us.
All right.
But anyway, what are some of the most compelling things that you've caught during the live sessions? I know you do investigations and do a lot more than just those, but you want to talk about some of the other things?
But always, you mentioned before I got on about how people are hearing stuff that is that like, and they'll go into comments and they'll appear all at once, not like, oh, someone said it. Oh, I heard it too. I heard it too. I heard it too. I mean, it all comes out there at once. And a lot of times I don't hear it. The box is always like, facing this way. And I don't hear a lot. Sometimes I don't hear a lot. Sometimes I have to kind of get myself up to it to hear it better. But, I've also gotten like some really strange names. Maybe strange isn't quite the right word for it, but like some people are like, as an example, like someone said, I'd like to get my grandmother DNA to come through. And now how often would you hear that on the radio? And the name came through. Like, can you say your name for us, please? And else, and you hear it. And I always say, if you get something more than one syllable on the spirit box that you can hear, that means you win, because you're going to be able to get an actual word. My name is one syllable, so you get a lot of bleh, bleh, and it's like, it could be my name, but probably
Did it say Greg?
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be very like Greg. Other times it'll be like the way that most people talk to me. To be fair, and it just really is like amazing. And then of course, which we could play at one point a lot. Some people have heard this before, when we try to bring through Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln. That's a standout. And as Denise saw on Tuesday, when we tried to reach out to see about any sort of Greys or Palladians and Nordics and see what we can get, and the what happened afterwards was pretty incredible. Depending on whether or not people believe or not, that's not for me to say. That's none of my business, to be honest. But it was very effective. It was incredible.
Right.
If you hear odd noises here, it's not spirit. Our pigs are having.
The guinea pigs, they know that we're in here, so they want to eat. That's what they do. So they're screaming at us every now and then.
I saw, Joanne, you are in Australia. I don't know why I knew you were not in the U.S., but I didn't think it was Australia.
You were thinking England, weren't you?
I was thinking England. And hi, Tim. We see you too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just Tim.
It's just Tim.
Yeah, it's just Tim.
Hey, Tim.
But no, we've listened, like I say, a lot of times, and then it seems like times that we don't listen, you'll come on the next time, and when we are listening, and you'll say, "Oh, if you missed last week's show, we had some amazing communication." We're like, "Well, shit, we missed it."
Yeah. And then normally nothing happens. Then when I say there's been amazing communication last week, and then that night is like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you some of the best stuff we've caught on a spirit box. I'm going to talk about Rosemont for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the best part because I mean, when you get people who are, like the box, I mean, you find it more and more almost rare. I feel like that people are very down on spirit boxes. I don't, and it's sad. It makes me sad because I understand it's not the end all be all, but it is something that when it works, it works. I mean, there's stuff that comes through that I can't explain how, if it's not spirit, then where did that come from?
Absolutely.
Well, we were using, I guess it's technically wasn't the spirit box. It was the necrophonic, wasn't it? There's only one app and we have tested it. That's the only
just like
app.
What you were saying about spirit boxes.
Yeah,
people poo-poo them all the time.
But we have actually thoroughly, per our standards, tested this app, and we are convinced that it is, a good tool to use.
You can get communication through it.
We were using the necrophonic at Rosemont. And for anybody that doesn't know me, EAD, that's my famous saying, EAD. And we're at Rosemont, and Ernie's saying something. I don't know what he was saying, but they told Ernie, they said, something come across necrophonics, said, eat a dick. Everybody in the room, we were leading a group. Everybody in the room.
It was a public investigation. We were hosting.
Everybody starts laughing and everything. He's like, what'd that say? And one guy in the crowd told him, and he was like, nuh-uh. And I said, can you say it again? And it said, eat a dick. And everybody busted out laughing because it repeated itself slowly and clearly. And so, yeah, even the spirits give him a hard time.
Well, and I think that's the best part when you get spirit that wants to have fun and wants to play along, and the part of, it makes it a lot of fun to be able to do. And because, I'm sure they all get sick and tired of, when did you die? I mean, it's like, who wants to talk about that?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's, as a paranormal investigator, I feel it's our jobs to be the voice of those who don't have a voice.
Absolutely.
A physical voice anymore. And I think I've heard you say it on your show, and I feel the same way. Do they want to talk all the time about how they died?
No.
When they died? No, they want to talk about places they liked.
Yep.
Things they enjoyed in life.
We have, like, Sarah's with us always, and I think you can pretty much vouch for that because she comes through a lot when we're in there. Okay, there's this long-running joke here, because I don't know how this came about. One day, you can tell me about Lakusha, how the whole Lakusha thing came about.
Okay. We're laying in bed and getting ready to go to sleep, and out of the blue, Denise pops up on her elbow. She was laying on her belly. She pops up on her elbows and looks at me and says, if I ever die, you better not be one of them guys sitting there in the funeral home with somebody patting you on the shoulder saying she would want you to move on. Let me tell you something. Lakusha, now where she got the name Lakusha, she's got another thing coming if she thinks she's gonna get you, because I will haunt both of y'all forever.
So then this name is like something we use in a joke all the time. We're out doing something because Sarah comes through with every investigation.
We were Bigfoot hunting.
Yeah, we were actually squatching. And I said, is anybody here? And you hear Sarah's voice go, yeah. And I'm like, who is this? And it says, Lakusha.
That's amazing. That is great. That is so fun. And I love the fact that you just immediately know when her voice comes through, as you have a number of times during Ghost Box Live, where it's just like, oh, that's Sarah. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I rely on when it comes to people, when we're reaching out to other people's loved ones. I don't know what Uncle Jerry sounds like. They're asking for Uncle Jerry. I hear a person. I'm like, I don't know. Is that them? Sometimes I have to do it because you get a good response. Like, hello, are you there? Is that them? Are you still with us? And other times it's like something will happen. All of a sudden you'll just get in all caps, oh my God, that's him. I can't believe it. And it's like, good. All right. Well, then looks like we did what we're supposed to do here, I guess.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But I don't know. The first time we met you, like I started to say before, she rudely cut me off and said, bring him on. The first time we met Greg was in Salina, Kansas.
Yep.
And at the Fear Fest out at the temple in Salina, which is an awesome place. If anybody ever gets the chance to go there, you need to do it. It's a really cool place. Huge, like 160,000 square feet. But he had a booth next to ours, and, we just nodded a few times and everything. And then the first time we struck up a conversation, it was like, this is a friend,
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, granted, you were done talking with everybody else in the room.
Yeah,
when you got to me.
Yeah,
he was down to the scrap.
Yeah, all the cool. I'd already talked to all the cool people.
Yeah, no, it was like, make it quick. You have a name. Just what is it? That was really kind of how that went.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Is it Bacon? Is it Bacon?
I mean, and you're not far off. Most people would say that. Yeah. So. It's, I'm not. Let's say that's not unfamiliar to me. So.
Right.
Yeah, but we did all get along really quickly, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And that doesn't happen often. Because I don't want to come out and say I'm psychic or anything like that, but I do pick up people's energies.
Yeah.
And I can tell within spending 15 seconds talking to somebody if I'm going to like that person or not, usually.
Yeah. Me too.
And for some reason, I didn't dislike you right off the bat. So
it took a while.
It
took a while for you to really dislike me, and that's how it's a slow burn, I think.
Well, it's been a couple years now, and
right.
I'm still not totally disliking you. So
no. I mean, you send me pictures and stuff. So I mean, what can I say? And someday we'll share steak. I mean, there's no better bond than that, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Just don't burn it. Don't burn it.
No.
Don't get it burnt.
Well, you're gonna go to the Red Yeti.
That's right. We got to get him down here to the Red Yeti.
No, it's about between rare and medium rare for me, always.
Exactly. That's the only way to go. Did you want to try to play a couple of your clips and we could talk try. About them?
Yeah, I think one of the ones I'd like to play here is if I can find it. There we are. First one is I just love this. And we talked about what are the ones that really resonate. And if people have listened to my stuff before, I do apologize because I just love it so much. I want to play it again. And that was when we tried to reach out to Abraham Lincoln. And as one does. And I've always been, it hasn't been my favorite thing to try to reach out to known people, because I didn't want it to turn into like certain people out there who when someone dies, they're all about trying to reach out to this person. Right. That truly is not my thing. So I think, 160 years, it should be a reasonable amount of time that it should be okay for me to do so again. Right. So there was this documentary on Discovery Plus that was called The Last Photo of Abraham Lincoln. And it was one taken after any known photos of him were taken, someone dead in the bed. And it was, it's hotly contested. So I wanted to see if he would come through and just like, not that this is scientific, but this was like a way to do it. And before we start, I always have my flashlights and stuff out and I meditate. And I'm like, President Lincoln, if you're here, would you mind talking with me? And I'm going to have other people here tonight. And the flashlight turns on. When I said, would you talk to me? I asked, you turn it off. And I said, I also would like to talk to Mary Todd Lincoln if possible. May I have that permission? And the light went back on. So the thing starts up, and I put the picture on screen and I said, President Lincoln, is this you? And a man's voice comes through and he says, yes. And like, well, that comment section just blows up. People like, oh my God, is it him? Is it blah, blah, blah? And let's be honest, we cannot say definitively it's him.
No.
But then I decide I'm going to try to see if I can ask Mary Todd Lincoln a question. And the question I want to ask her, being all smooth and stuff, the question I want to ask is, Mrs. Lincoln, when you were living, you spoke to the dead. Now that you have passed, you speak to the living. But I was getting starstruck by the fact, what if we got President Lincoln? So you're going to hear a very tongue-tied Greg try to ask a question.
Greg had a stroke.
Right. You're also going to hear an exasperated, as all women talk to me, an exasperated Mary Todd Lincoln. Quite frankly, she had enough of my shit. So let's here you go.
All right.
I think you need to add it.
Yeah, let me get that up here.
Mrs. Lincoln, you spent your entire life reaching out to spirit. Do you talk to other people? Do you talk to other people as a spirit, to other living people? Talk about what?
That's cool.
Right? She literally is like, talk about what? Jesus. I mean, I've never had someone so exasperated come through. I've had other people try to save me in the sense of being like, no. It's not exasperation. It's just a lot of energy for spirit.
No.
That's exasperation.
Yeah, she was tired of you. She was.
Yeah, I mean, it literally was
over talking to you.
I mean, I could see like, talk about.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm dead. What do you want to talk about now?
Yeah.
Let's listen to it again, because I think it's great that Mary Todd Lincoln was giving him shit.
Can I point out one more thing though beforehand?
Sure.
You're going to hear a man say, "I know," and that's the same voice that we had for Lincoln.
Okay. All right.
Mrs. Lincoln, you spent your entire life reaching out to spirit. Do you talk to other people? Do you talk to other people as a spirit, to other living people? Talk about what?
In my mind, in all seriousness, in my mind, that I don't care if that's Mary Todd Lincoln or not. How can anyone say the spirit box doesn't work after that response? In my opinion.
Right.
That is, to me, that is absolutely class A and wonderful. Just a wonderful, whether it's her or not. And then I had somebody in the comments about Lincoln, like, well, can you play that against a known recording of Lincoln? No, because he died in 1865.
Don't know if we have any of those.
Steve,
yeah.
Is that an SB7?
Is that an SB7 or 11?
That is an SB7. What I do for the lives is I tend to use the SB7 because they translate well through the internet when I'm doing lives. We did one with Austin Maynard. I did a ghost box session with Austin, and he had a really cool new box that no doubt is amazing and better than the SB7, but it didn't translate. So people were just kind of like, I can't understand what's being said. And that's a real shame because his work is really good. It just that you have to be careful about what works and what doesn't work. I have a thing called the Andres box because I have about 40 some spirit boxes.
Yeah, you have a selection of them in Salina.
Yeah, yes. And one of them, remember the old time radio one? Yes. That's the Andres box. And so what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to have a separate camera on it and a separate microphone for it so that maybe people can hear it better. So I am FM backward sweep. I've been doing I think it's 250 that I've been doing. When I did the alien one on Tuesday, someone said, a woman named Zanzi, she said, you gotta raise the frequency. So I'm like, okay, so I raised it to 150, meaning it's going faster, much faster. And that's when all hell broke loose. That's when we started to really get the communication and stuff. And the one that will always reach out to me is when we're doing that, and it says, "We're coming for you." And I said, is this for the earth? You're coming to the earth, or you mean you're actually coming to me? And then the response was for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, great.
Yeah, we heard that.
Yeah, we heard that one.
It's like why am I doing this again?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
the hell's wrong with me?
And something that you were talking about before you started the show last week is that you had to cancel a show and someone actually got mad at you because you had to cancel a show. People, you're not paying us to do these.
No.
We
No.
do them for our entertainment, for your entertainment, for your information, and just to help keep the community going and keep everybody together and moving along. It irks me that people act like they have this sense of entitlement, like you have to do this, you have to perform for me.
And it's a fine line, I think, because I appreciate the fact that someone cares so much about that they think that I help people so much, or I help them so much that they get, they want to see me there. But at the same time, and you both know very well, any sort of work, whether it's just investigating or putting in mediumship or any sort of your use of gifts of any kind, exhausts you.
It's draining.
It's totally draining. And by the time I hit 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, 11 your time, and sometimes it's just like I can't do it. I can't. And sometimes it's not about, well, I don't know, maybe I might let the wrong spirit in or something. It's more of like, I have zero tolerance for humanity at this point. And you want this to be like a free for all, like shooting spree, because that's what we're looking at, shooting with my mouth at you people, I mean, we don't want that. Like, as it is, the person who, kind of, and this isn't the first time that they've been very vocal about things and said the wrong thing. There is going to be and this might be the best part of tonight's show at 10 p.m. is me kind of letting them know that wasn't appreciated. Quite frankly, it's not, because it's just like you said, exactly what you said. I mean, everybody wants to tune in. They want to see Packman Paranormal. They enjoy it. But if you're not on, if you don't feel like you can do it, then you shouldn't have to do it,
Right.
Yeah.
But in your case, all you need to do is just have an hour. Just have this on screen.
Just put that up for an hour. Yes, exactly.
You've got Kelly Elliott over here keeps saying, "Hey, Greg, how are you?" She said it a couple of times, but we were talking, so we didn't pop it up there.
Hi, Kelly.
She's obviously a fan, so that's good.
He's jealous.
You need to send her one of those pictures of you.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to replicate like on a nice like this is good.
I just had an epiphany. Oh
no.
Pillowcase, Greg. You need a pillowcase.
Of this, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Todd said, was that Ernie Pack? Show that picture again, Greg, because Todd didn't get a good look at that.
Todd took that picture.
look, Todd, are you jealous because he autographed it and sent it to Greg?
Yeah, you don't have one of those.
Steve said, why are you so mad?
I was mad because I had guy liner on, Steve.
Yeah.
They had my hair spiked and I had guy liner on me. Come on, that's why I was mad. Wouldn't you be?
I mean, words truly have escaped me over this photo. So, I mean, I don't.
I think you need a pillowcase so that every time you roll over and you open your eyes, you're like laying right there eye to eye.
I don't know if I could sleep. I mean, I just don't know if I could even sleep anymore.
He likes this. Look, Steve's laughing about it. Steve, do you want one too? We can send you one.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, no.
I will sell those, folks.
PayPal
me $30 and you'll get your own autographed copy.
Ernie's used to waking up eye to eye with people, so eye to eye for him would be.
Yeah. I ask that you don't, because this is my retirement. I'm going to sell this when I'm ready to retire.
It won't be the same as that one. It'll be something similar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was concerned and hurt and a lot of.
Todd says he gets 10%.
Yeah, he was the photographer, so he gets some.
He wakes up to eyelashes fluttering on his eyelid.
That's how Denise wakes me up. I'm laying. Picture this, Greg. You're laying there.
I'm afraid to.
Hello, Brian Rollins.
Greg, I live to torment him. That's my sole purpose as a wife.
Yeah, okay? I see.
Hello, Claire. So I'm laying there, sound asleep, right?
Right.
I start to stir, in the morning, as you do when you're starting to come to life and you're trying to figure out if you're alive. Did I die during my sleep? I don't know yet.
No, the day is new.
And then I realized there's an eyelash that's touching my eyelash and an eyeball right freaking here.
I have to see if he's awake or not.
Why?
I don't. Well, it sounds like a butterfly kiss. Isn't that what they used to call that?
Exactly. Butterfly. Yeah. I'm giving you butterfly kisses in the morning.
No, you're being weird as hell.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? It won't happen to me because I sleep in a coffin, and I shut it every night. Just if something goes wrong, I'm all ready to go. I'm all about making sure things are good to go. No one has to fuss or anything. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just. It's on in front stoop. It's not even in the house. Every night, just lay in my coffin and just
Tom
wait.
don't know what he's talking about, by the way. I'm an angel.
Right. Okay. So go ahead.
What got you into the paranormal? I know this is the common question that everybody.
You too. Yeah, it's you too. I got you because when I met you all in Salina, I wasn't even into it at all, and
right.
I mugged the person whose table I was standing at, and so it just kind of it evolved from there. I'm like,
you were already stalking him. You were
there as a stalker, weren't you?
I was part of an organization that I can't talk about that was all about you. So yeah. What got me into a spirit box?
Cool.
That's really truly what got me into it, because I was watching some shows and they were using it, and I thought to myself, if this is real, if this can work in any possible way, then I'm in. I want to do it. I mean, I was much more into the technical side at that time, and I am to a certain degree, but it's things change. I mean, I started going down the right path, but I got at work at the place I used to work at, Carmichael Lynch. There was the building was from 1916, and they had what's called the creepy basement. And trust me, if they want to see creepy, we could all show them creepy. I mean, this was like lit, and it was
did
darker.
A few minutes ago
with that picture.
Yeah, well, that's the this is something else. But so what ended up happening was that I got a spirit box from that super cool paranormal location called Amazon, because I didn't know where else to get it. I didn't even have an external speaker.
You don't know anything about Amazon, do you?
Yeah, and a friend of mine was into it too. So we went downstairs in the creepy basement. I turn on the box, and I'm just like, very first question I ask is there? Can I get the name of somebody here, please? And I got a name, and the whole night turned into just answers upon answers, including my name, my friend Jeff's name, and it was like I was hooked from that moment on.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever saw one was on one of the TV shows, and then when I was, helping out with tours and investigations at Waverly Hills, someone finally brought one in, and I saw it, and I mean, I followed them around all night listening, and it's like, I got to get one of those, and it's fascinating. A lot of people, like you said earlier, a lot of people, they don't want to put a whole lot of faith in them. They say you're just picking up radio frequencies, and randomly every now and then you might get something that seems to line up with the questions you're asking or whatever. No, we have gotten very specific answers to specific questions and specific pieces of information that should not just randomly come over the spirit box.
Absolutely.
Plus, there are FCC regulations against certain words being used.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And those words will come through.
Oh, Paul.
Absolutely.
Over there.
Yeah.
And that's a very good point. And I get a lot of that during Ghost Box Live. Is and we just know that there's people who want to kind of ramp things up, in a not a great way, spirit wise and whatnot. Do you want me to answer this question?
Yeah.
My opinion. I mean, it's obviously just my opinion. I think. Este's method is cool in the sense that everyone seems to want to do it now. I personally feel like that, and I've seen it. And a friend of mine, Christy, you both know Christy, I think, Christy Ayers, I think she summed it up very well by saying that, we can run the spirit box all night and not get some of those words that you're talking about, but it's always in one of the events or something, someone does the Estes, they put on the headphones, they start doing, and the stuff that comes out of their mouth, the racist or the swearing or whatever else, and it's like, really, now spirit starts talking this way? Why now? Whereas opposed to when everyone was listening, nothing like that was coming through at all. And so I find that I prefer it when people can hear it. I prefer that everyone can hear it, because it's also great validation as well for, did I hear that correctly?
Right.
Like the eat a dick, I mean,
Right.
you're just like, what did they say? And then they said it again.
Yeah.
Very
Slowly
slow.
and clearly.
And slowly, yes. I mean, it's like, did I stutter the first time? Here we go.
Exactly.
That's exactly how it is.
And I just find that is really the key. I mean, in my opinion, if you are trying to get evidence, and maybe Estes is great for like an event or something, a lot of fun, but if you're truly trying to get evidence, I think you really want people to answer. And I see, and we did something similar to a kind of reversed Estes at the Grant House. That Shar came up with a really good idea about that. And we had probably the best 18 minutes of paranormal activity in our careers. That every EVP, every spirit box response, we were able to find records that supported what we were talking about. And we had somebody in a different room who was totally sensory deprivated, that she was channeling, and she was channeling names that she had no idea were coming through as EVPs and as spirit box responses.
Yeah. We were doing a Estes method session at the Old Stone Jail. I personally like the Estes method.
Sure.
But I will say, like you said, I think that there's a lot of anytime you put a person
we did it a lot
involved,
at Waverly.
you can infer things and plant answers in their head.
I think it kind of depends on the person, and I don't mean that negatively against anybody, as if anybody's doing it on purpose. But like we did it a lot on the public investigations at Waverly, and the public had a lot more responses because they were looking and trying so hard to find something.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, continue.
And I think that's a good point for both of you. It's like, if you are like, you're investigating with, say, Todd, or you're investigating with Leanne, and you all know each other so well, and then you do an Estes, that's completely different than like, you doing it. I mean, we know each other, but what makes you all think that, I'm going to be 100% accurate? I mean, we have to investigate it together.
Right.
So, those are things that, and that's the way it works with any investigation, is like, the public ones are fun and they're cool, but the ones that you're really trying to get into something, you're only going with people you absolutely trust.
Right. Todd's bringing up what you're getting ready to talk about, the click bang.
We were at Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky, which is another awesome location. I recommend you get down there sometime, Greg.
I think we are.
Good deal. It's an awesome location. It's where we got married, in fact.
Yeah, we were married there.
That's the only reason why I'm going, as kind of a personal journey.
Part of your stalking.
Yeah, it's very much a pilgrimage.
So I understand. You probably got a big scrapbook, and you're gonna.
Oh, you would be surprised and scared. So yes.
Yeah.
and frightened, and might want to call the police on me. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a professional stalker. There's nothing you're gonna say.
I've seen the Marvel pictures. Yes.
Yes, it's bad. So anyway, Todd is blindfolded. He's got headphones on. He's in another room. Billy Wilkerson, that runs the jail down there, hands me a prop gun downstairs. Todd's upstairs. He doesn't even know I've got this prop gun, right? His back is to me. I walk into the room and I just hold the gun up where everybody else in the room can see me. And I pull the hammer back. It's a revolver.
Yep.
Pull the hammer back on it.
Mm-hmm.
When I did that, Todd goes click. I pull the trigger. Todd goes bang.
Wow.
I mean, he has
no idea. He has no idea.
What's that?
He has no idea.
He had no idea I had this gun.
Yeah.
His back was to me. He's blindfolded. It was handed to me in another room after he'd already been blindfolded.
Love it.
Yeah, it was
That
awesome.
Great.
I have a question down there.
All right, let's see what we got here.
But in a different room, can this help? Visual static screen. I'm not sure I understand that. Do you?
I mean, I guess my response to anyone asking about what works best and what doesn't work is try it.
Exactly.
You know, I'd hate to be like, oh, it doesn't seem like a good idea to me, and yet it's an amazing idea. I mean,
Right.
that's the thing about investigating, is that you just try stuff. And I mean, we all have done plenty that has not worked. We've dud nights. We've had nights that may not be as great as what we were hoping for. And then when we're not expecting it, we have amazing nights, and we're doing stuff that, you know, and I've certainly been in situations, you know, I've been doing this for so long that someone who's been doing it for, 6 months, a year or something, comes up with an amazing idea and it works. I mean, that's the,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, if you want to, I think anyone who wants to try something should try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how we're going to advance the field.
Yeah.
All of us, is by thinking outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, as long as everybody's doing the same thing, the same methods and all this, you're going to get the same
Results.
inconclusive results.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, nothing ever moves forward without, you know, trying something new.
And I feel like, not that I'm doing anything special or anything, because I truly am not, but I feel like that's kind of where the Estes is a little bit, in my opinion, because I feel like that people a lot, I mean, I think people like you have been doing it long before it kind of become like the thing, because it currently seems like, and I do it once a month or something with Greg Bakun on his show Metaphysical Crossings, and we do have a very good time with it. And so, I mean, I have done it, but I just feel like when I'm out in the field, you know, we've had some really questionable things happen at events and stuff, and it's just like, and you know, at event, you're just like, you have to kind of step back as an investigator, not to be like harsh on people because they paid money just to have fun. And I'm just like, no.
We have to walk a fine line doing tours at Waverly all the time with the photos people bring you, the EVPs they bring you. You've just got to be very diplomatic in your responses to some people.
I'll tell you real fast before Joanne, the last event I did in York in October with Christy, we had somebody and we kind of broke up and kind of did like Christy had an idea for an Estes sort of session there, and but it was kind of reverse as well. So we were all in different rooms, and some guy who you can tell the type of investigator. I'm just going to leave it at that. And all of a sudden he's just like, oh my neck hurts, and right away I'm just like, let's check his neck. And it's like, okay, there's nothing there. And so we do it again, and we're in the dark, but I see this guy does this, and then he's like, oh my, you know, and he would look and it's like, oh yeah, look at that, you're scratched, okay. And you know, he's just like, oh, and then his girlfriend's like, that means demonic possession. It's like, it doesn't mean demonic possession, okay. And I pulled him aside on our way back to everyone, and I'm like, I do know what you did. I mean, first of all, you know, when spirit does that, generally it's not like getting bigger like that. It's just scratches, you know, they're almost like from the inside out is what I've seen. And it's like, don't make a big deal of it, or I'm going to completely out you. And he's just like, okay. And funny enough, we went back to the bigger group, and nobody, like, because his girlfriend's like, oh my God, he was scratched. Not one person was like, oh my God, let's see what's going on. Oh my God, I'm scared. They're just like, oh, okay. I think they all were like, yeah, we see what this is. We see who this guy is.
Joanne's asking about dowsing. I have, Joanne. Me and Ernie don't use a lot of equipment at all. We are to the point that we don't have anything to prove to anybody. For us, it's more about a personal journey and our own personal experiences. So we just go and enjoy our time, communicate, and use ourselves as equipment, basically.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say Ernie is a tool.
He kind of is.
What, did I say something wrong? Kind of is.
He kind of are.
You people. I'm a really nice person.
When guests attack, yeah.
So folks, we're going to end this show.
You can't find Greg anywhere. Don't watch him. He's stupid. Bye-bye.
So Steve says they've started evolving this just by doing it in a copper pyramid. You're rich. And our listeners say think like a man.
I use a diamond pyramid personally.
Talking or a kid is saying. So
copper pyramid. I don't know.
Yeah, I use platinum usually.
I just use the gold in my teeth when I.
No, I mean I mean, like we were saying before, it's a thinking outside the box, trying something, a little twist on the common or the mainstream ways of doing things.
And I feel like that those are good ideas where, the ones that are on the TV shows, and we'll just say it like this, the ones who create traps and stuff, and they're not doing that anymore. Those are ones that's like, I don't know about that. But the ones who are using like, just thinking about like, you have a great base and how can we build on it? I think that's, in my opinion, that's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Motion lights, we've used motion lights.
We have.
I don't know if you have, Greg, or not, but we've used them.
We actually use more ghost hunting equipment in the forest, Bigfoot hunting,
when we're squatching,
than we do when we're paranormal investigating for spirits. So,
and we have results, which
exactly.
is, it's amazing.
We
can get them through the spirit box.
Absolutely. And that's what I think is the best about the spirit box, is that you don't need to just worry about spirits in there. I think it's a platform for any kind of communication.
Yeah.
All of the animals in this house are restless right now. The pigs finally settled down, and now the dog's huffing at the door.
Yeah, he's over there sniffing at the door. It's a full moon.
That must be it.
But
there was those motion lights. I don't know, the ones that are on a string.
Tripwire.
Yeah, those things are like, I was going to get some. I was over at Ohio State Penitentiary for a convention, the convention in May, and I saw the price. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting those. But that they're beautiful. I mean, they're I've worked on some investigations.
The only problem with those that you have to be aware of is lightning. We have had them at Waverly on overnight investigations,
and they start going off, and we're like, whoa! And then you realize,
and it's not like right when it strikes.
Syncs up with the lightning.
It syncs up like we're either right before or right after the lightning.
Yeah, as soon as the electricity starts building for the strike, they'll start going off.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because while we were there and we're walking through the state penitentiary, it was severe weather, and so it was raining inside the cell block, and like right where those lights were, and they're all alive. And I said to the person behind the counter, I'm like, is this going to be okay for you? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm going that way. So
yeah. Was that Jeff Eastman that makes those?
Could be.
You don't know?
Nope. I mean, I listen, it was raining on him, and he's around like nothing but electricity. I'm,
yeah.
Good luck to you.
Stay around and find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took the low road and got the hell out of there.
I understand completely. So you have investigated a lot of really cool locations.
Yeah.
I mean, in all parts of the country, really. I mean,
I've been all around the world.
Yeah.
Not all around. Oh my God. I make it sound like I'm in Africa, the deepest of Africa, investigating.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean, let's refine.
That's Josh Gates.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And while I'm saving small villages from burning down, I'm like, doing spirit box work. No, I've been all over the U.S. and then I've been over in the U.K. One of my favorite places that merges two of my loves is a place called Alexandra Palace, that is the birthplace of BBC television. But this place was around as a big exhibition hall in the 1840s and 1850s. And I was down there with some equipment. We were there to talk about stuff for British television, and we're in the basement, and I took out some stuff and starts going off, and everyone's just like, what the F? They're just like, what the hell? What, you're a demon. What is going on here? I'm like, just relax. I said, it's probably electricity in the room. They're like, there is no electricity in this room. I'm like, you're screwed.
That's all I can tell you. You're all gonna die.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Nice.
Yeah,
So-
when you were talking earlier about every time somebody gets scratched, they think it's demonic activity. We had to often calm people down and be like, no, they're just trying to get your attention. I mean, not to say that that can't be a form of demonic activity, but if you've been, deceased for that many years and you're screaming and nobody can hear you, you're going to do whatever you need to do to get a hold of somebody.
Totally. And if you think that I saw something else just rise up in front of me here.
Yeah, I just saw it too.
This place can be pretty fun and active sometimes. When you do spirit box sessions like 4 hours a week in here, you should be prepared for something, right?
We have constant activity here too.
Oh, I'm
They
sure.
release 3 minutes from us.
What is? Oh, yeah.
They release 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We can see it from our porch, and they come over here because they know we're over here.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's there's just so much. I mean, there's just so much activity and stuff, and you just, I don't know. It's nothing's bad. I did have when I tried to reach out to John Wilkes Booth one night, and I think we got him. He wouldn't talk about the assassination, but he would talk about his theater work, because he's an actor and that's all he cared about. And all of a sudden during it, I started to feel a pain right back here, and he actually marked me that night, and then he stuck around for about a week. Freeloading, might I add.
Yeah. He didn't bring eggs or anything.
Nothing. No, eggs would have been amazing. I mean, those things are like, $10.
There was something else.
Yep, another one. That's probably him. He's like, oh, I'll show you eggs.
And I don't think that's dust, because this is not like an infrared camera or anything like that.
Exactly.
And,
no, we get a lot when I do the paranormal classes. We get stuff and people are like, what's that? I'm like, your future. I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny because we'll be somewhere and like we've had like full bodied stuff just kind of be there and then be gone, and we just kind of look at it and turn back around and keep going, and everybody around us is freaking out, and we got to stop and remember, okay, this isn't everybody else's life every single minute of the day.
I had somebody stay here once, and she was using the master bathroom upstairs, and she had the door open. I was at work, and my cat Linus, she started hearing footsteps out there, and he was just like, and she's just like, what the? And I'm just like, well, she's a psychic medium. It's like, you don't know, but at the same time, it's like, that's this house. That's what happens. Things knock on the wall. I've had napkins fly around. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, anyone, I'm pointing over to a screen you can't see, which makes everything much more riveting, of course.
Yes.
But over here is where I have my equipment. If you watch Ghost Box Live, I have another camera with just equipment on it, and we have a bell, and the bell will move by itself. And and I'll have paranormal toilet paper that's around just to see if that moves, because it's like, well, is it some kind of air duct or something? And it isn't. We don't know what it is. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that toilet paper that you get from Ghost Box or Ghost Stop for like
Ghost Stop,
$230 a roll.
It is, and it's defective when I get it. It's used. Slightly
you gotta send it back and get like 3 of them before one finally works.
And their logo is all over it, and it's really unfortunate.
The antenna falls off of it.
I gave up years ago thinking they're going to be a sponsor for my radio show, so I'm going to talk all I will about them.
But we're not getting sponsorships from them either, or
responses for that matter. But yeah,
right. But no, you mentioned BBC television earlier.
I did.
And
I've got to ask, did you ever watch Primeval? BBC's version of Primeval? It only made it through like 4 or 5 seasons. It was one of my favorites.
Only 4 or 5 seasons. That's a lot of television.
It is for me, but they didn't really finish it. I didn't feel like.
No. I didn't watch it all the way through. I watched some of it. There's people in there that I knew of. But for a while I wasn't watching the current stuff. I was really just watching the older stuff. And now I'm watching. I try to watch as much as I can, but there's so much. and
Yeah.
and such a cross pollination now between American actors and British actors, which there's nothing wrong with, but boy, it's like it's everything, and the stuff that is coming out of the UK is just such high quality that you know, and then you get the US trying to remake that stuff. So yeah, there's some really good stuff going on out there, some really good shows.
I need to introduce him to a few of the British things.
I mean, I liked Benny Hill.
I love Benny
You
Hill.
need to watch some Doctor Who.
But that's about the only British comedy I could stand, to be honest.
I made him. He had to watch the entire Marvel cinematic universe,
yeah, in order,
in order for me to become his wife.
That's not British, though, is it?
It's not, but
Okay.
that was one of our
Well,
things, stipulations.
Old Cumberbatch is on there, so there you go.
He is. He sure is. See, you're aware of. Sherlock is a great series that you could watch with Benedict, and let's see, you know, there's some good stuff, but I also understand why people just don't really care for it. And the thing is, it's like I remember, like the stuff on PBS over here always is the best, right? It's always the best of British television before all this other stuff came out. So I went to the UK in 1990, and I can't wait to watch the BBC because it's going to be like 100 times better than all this. And it was like gardening shows and talk shows with people I've never heard of or care about, and I'm like, what the hell is this garbage? And it's like, oh no, it's called the BBC. This is what you were getting the best of stuff from the last 30 years, but that's just not how things play, obviously.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well,
did you want to hear that voicemail?
Yes,
sure,
yes.
Go ahead and preface this and send it, and I'll put it on the screen.
Because we only have an hour, right?
Well, we can stay on as long as you want.
Because I you don't understand. I'm kind of a talk whore. So yeah, I mean, I'd talk.
You might be on this time tomorrow.
You do have a show.
When's your next show?
We'll just do it from here, right? We'll just go ahead and do it from here. And
go for it.
then what's her face who can't watch and get angry at me? She can come stalk me.
She can come in the chat over here and start complaining.
She could. I dare her,
and we'll let her have it. Denise will go West Virginia on her.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So that's the only reason why I'm micromanaging you all with this show. I mean, that's just kind of how I.
He needs micromanagement.
Leave me alone. You are mean to me.
I stop when mom and dad are fighting. I just don't know how to react. So I'm just like So back in 2019, I decided that out of nowhere, I'm like, I need to start using a Ouija board. And I don't know where that came from. And so once again, I returned to the holy grail of paranormal equipment to Amazon, and I got myself a Hasbro Ouija board. And I got it. I got it here, meaning here, my house. And I put it out there, and I take out the planchette, and I just sit there with it. I'm like, anybody want to talk to me? And I just sit there, and nothing happens. And I'm like, oh, of course, whatever. So I just put it away, and I go about my day, about my business. And the next day I'm at work, and my phone rings, and the phone number is area code 952-666 and 4 other numbers, because they're immaterial. I have the screen grab of it, but they're immaterial. And I just like, I looked at my friend at work, and I'm like, I ain't answering this. I'm showing her the number. She's like, we're all laughing. And then there's a voicemail. And I'm like, okay. And so I listened to the voicemail, and this is what is on my voicemail.
All right, here we go.
How dare you?
Wow.
Let's play that again. If I can hit the button.
How dare you?
Wow.
So, as a reasonable paranormal investigator, my first thing to do would, of course, be call the number. Right. And I call the number, and it doesn't exist. It's not a phone number. And so the next thing I do is I call the phone company, and they're just like, just so you know, we don't do phone numbers that have 666 in them because people don't like it. So I don't know what that is.
Could it even be a number that's spoofed? You know,
I looked into
that
that.
has to be an existing number, though, doesn't it?
I mean, because someone said to me, well, you can go to a service and you can create your own like phone number and call from there. I hadn't seen that. I don't know if that exists, but I guess the thing is, then is it coincidence or is it, I mean,
Did
if it
anybody
isn't
know you've
coincidence,
been messing with the Ouija board for them to have it in their mind they were going to mess with you?
yeah, absolutely.
So it sounds like somebody. I mean, it's definitely
It's creepy.
creepy, but
Yeah.
it just makes me wonder if somebody found a way. But that would be a good thing to investigate if somebody found a way to come up with the phone number.
I couldn't find it. I mean, not that I am like, Matlock over here, but I couldn't find what that was. And
spoof a fake. I mean, the spoof number is an actual phone number that exists.
Yeah. I don't know. It was pretty crazy. So jump forward 2 years, at least 2 years, if not 3. I think it's actually might have been 3 in 2020. Last year was 2022. It was here. Christy was here, and we were doing an experimental session. And you all know, if you know Christy, you know that she also likes to kind of push it a little bit as well. I do as well. And we had a voodoo doll set up in my house.
We got them all over here.
Yeah, Marie Laveau right there.
and the same Ouija board. And I play the recording during Ghostbox Live, and I'm like, this is what you said to me. Can you communicate me somehow, some way? Can you knock on the walls? Can you do something? Can you, whatever? And once again, nothing happens. I'm like, well, whatever. The next morning, 7 a.m. Bang! I'm like, what on earth is that? And Christy's like, well, it's probably Linus, my cat. It's like, no, he's right here. So I go downstairs, and over in my refrigerator, I've had a bunch of like trays that have been on top of the refrigerator for like 16 years. I mean, we don't move anything in this house.
Right.
Like 16 years, this thing has been up there. And all of a sudden now they're all on the floor, and there isn't a decline where they might, slide off. It isn't like, oh my gosh, my refrigerator has been shaking and, it's slowly.
Right. Yeah.
I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
creepy.
I got a Ouija board story. Most everybody I know that's ever used a Ouija board has at least one weird Ouija board story.
Absolutely.
I've got one that I can't explain. It's about a Ouija board that wouldn't go away, that I tried to give away.
Yeah.
A tornado tried to blow it away.
Tell the whole story.
Okay. Have this Ouija board. Start getting, my sister had gotten it for me when I was like 15 or 16 years old.
Sure.
And, of course, when you're a teenager, you're playing with it and you're trying to talk to Satan or whoever, whatever. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I remember you connected with me. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember us reaching out. But you were like 3 at the time.
Yeah. You flatter me, sir.
Yeah.
He is 112.
Shut up. I'm telling a story. Anyway, so I move out of the house, years later. This thing has been boxed up in the attic and forgot all about it. When I move out, I took it with me, put it in a shed, and at the house I was living in. We have a storm come through that they finally, agreed. They said it was like an F0 tornado. It wasn't a bad tornado, but it was bad enough that it blew that shed to pieces. And stuff was scattered over like 2 streets over from where we were pieces of that shed. But that Ouija board was still sitting perfectly on a little nightstand table that had been in that shed. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work for me. I need to get rid of this. So I took it, put it in the garbage can, took the garbage out to the road. The next day, go to work, come home, empty garbage can is sitting at the end of the driveway, Ouija board's leaning up against it. I'm like, no. I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of it, right? I'm like, there's got to, because I've heard stories, you got to burn them, you got to do this. So I'm trying to reach out to people to tell me what I need to do to get rid of this thing or whatever. Well, in the meantime, my ex-brother-in-law was having a yard sale. And I'm like, here you go. Put this in your yard sale. He does. It sells. It goes away. Like a week later, the Ouija board is sitting on my front porch.
That's messed up.
Yeah. I finally burned it in the backyard, and I don't know that did any good or not. But, I mean, it would not go away. I don't know what. I can't explain that. And I've heard other people tell similar stories.
That's messed up. I wish I knew exactly what kind you had, because I'd love to find one and just put it in your front yard and just.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking.
Yeah, right. I mean, this
was the old.
This was not a good story for you to tell,
or whatever. Just the old cardboard cheap thing from like.
So because I wasn't smart, and I still am not, just like a month after that happened, I decided I needed a real Ouija board. So I found one that was over 100 years old.
Nice.
And let's be smart, right? And I was here on Halloween night, and was with a psychic medium who stayed with me, and we started using it, and it started to arc between Z and O. And the person who was with me was like, I don't know what this is. I've never heard of this before. I'm not convinced. That seems too easy.
Right.
But we bounded the board at that point, and I didn't unbound it until July of last year. We put salt around it and whatnot. We bound it. I don't know. It was interesting. It was exciting at the moment, but I don't really know if any of that really was real, if that makes sense.
But all of this being said about Ouija boards, I personally don't feel they're any different as a paranormal tool than the spirit box or anything else that we use, as long as you use them properly.
Properly, right.
Open and close your sessions properly.
Yep.
And have the right intentions. Intentions have everything to do with paranormal activity, I think.
Totally. And the thing was too, it's like, I've been to hotels, haunted locations where it's like, we don't want Ouija boards here, and that's totally fine. That's, your house, your rules. But I also when I went to the Birdcage Theater, they didn't want spirit boxes. They looked at spirit box the same way as Ouija boards. I'm like, I'm a one-trick pony. What are you talking about? and so we had an amazing night all the same, but it was like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Here,
Linus wanting to get on the show.
He was over here, and then I pull back the chair, and I get this little crunchy face of like, no way,
no,
buddy.
I ain't getting up there.
Yeah, come on, Liney. Come say hi.
Craziness over here.
Yeah, the pigs are trying to go crazy over here. I don't know what they're doing. Todd says CMTSU. I don't know what the heck he's talking about. What is he talking about?
Cut my throat.
That's probably stroking.
Yeah, he probably meant to type hello.
Hi, Linus.
There's Linus.
There's Liney butt. Yeah.
We need to bring ours out so Linus.
No, we don't need to bring ours. Linus will get hungry. You bring those guinea pigs out, Linus will get hungry.
It seems like on these lives, you can't see anything in front of him because people have put their cat on screen and stuff, and we've never gotten a reaction. I mean, I've expected him to go and like tear off the computer and stuff, and it disappointed every single time, right?
Right.
What the hell's that? Oh,
That's a hairless guinea pig.
We got 2 of them. The other one hid from me. This is Shaggy.
Oh, that's right. Shaggy. That's so funny. That's right. You got the, I remember you getting the hairless ones. Yeah. Shaggy.
Shaggy and Harry.
And they're hairless.
Well, I mean, Linus has enough hair for every animal. So,
Todd says can't make this shit up is what he meant. Yes. I got you.
Hey, Linus.
Yep.
Say hi to Shaggy.
He called me a dumbass. Todd called me a dumbass.
I wasn't sure because it wasn't
not interested.
because I was saying it should have been SCMTSUDA, but I get it now. He left off. He had a stroke. He left off.
Brian said meow.
Yeah.
The key is to let your cat down before they rip your face off. Is what I've found over my years of having.
Yeah. I'm not a cat person.
He's getting ready to get a goat.
I'm not getting a goat.
You're getting a goat.
I'm not getting a goat.
It's already got a.
There's Matt Barron.
Hey,
Hello,
Matt.
Matt Barron. How are you? So what have you got coming up?
So one of the things, so we do a monthly thing called Ghost Stories and Beyond, which is a local thing that we have over at a bar called Billy's in Anoka, Minnesota, which is they call themselves the Halloween capital of the world, but it's a pretty cool town, really. And we go there. Shar and I go there once a month, and we either have people tell their ghost stories or we have a special guest or something. In January, we sold tickets for Dave Schrader, who was going to come and talk with us, and we had to postpone it because being in Minnesota meant that we are, privy to the weather, and it was like a 4-day blizzard that we just couldn't, we just couldn't do. So we have that coming up this Wednesday, and it's cool because a lot of people wanted to go. We only had 30 tickets. It was very small. And so 30 people are going to be able to spend the evening with Dave Schrader and listen to what he has to say and his stories and stuff. So I'm excited for those people because they're really excited about him coming on. We're trying to put together a lot of events this year. We really want to be able to get people back out into locations in Minnesota to do investigations and learn about it. There's some really cool places here that we want them to be able to take part in, and also trying to find some new places. One of the things I also really like to do is my live paranormal investigations, where we set up about 10 cameras and we really try to have the audience watch. That's living paranormal is what we call it, and have the audience watch. And sometimes they're picking up stuff that we're not seeing, like, oh, I think I saw a shadow. And they're not doing stuff that's like ridiculous. Sometimes you get people on, it's like, I think I saw, someone standing behind you. They're just like, when you did that, like when we were at the Octagon Mansion in Whitville, Virginia, we had someone say we saw a shadow. And we went back and looked, and sure enough, we saw a shadow. There was something there. It's like, how do we get people involved? And I think you two are very much the same way with your background working with Waverly and everything else you do. It's like, how do we get people involved to experience what we've experienced?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And do it the right way too, for that matter.
Right. That's something that has, and it's talked about a lot, but we'll talk about it because it can't be said enough, really. So many people who are paranormal enthusiasts, they watch the TV shows.
Yep.
And they think that's how paranormal investigations work.
Yep.
And it's just simply not.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it's done. And we spend more time sitting in these dark, abandoned locations having absolutely nothing happen than we do having any kind of activity at all.
Yep.
Where it's just completely dead, silent, quiet, empty building. And, people get the wrong impression from watching the show.
Yeah, we've had to explain to groups that have come in, and they've had some, pretty significant, a couple of really good EVPs or a shadow, and then they're like,
door slam. And they're like, well, not much happened.
And not much happened.
It's
and
like,
because they're comparing it.
One thing.
They're comparing it to what they saw on TV, and it's like, well, these people are here for a week sometimes.
Yeah.
They film for a week to get 3 or 4 pieces of evidence to put on the show.
Right.
And, that's more realistic. I'm sorry.
I remember there's been some events I've been to where we've had a really good night. We've had some amazing things happen, and just like, what did you all think? What do you all think? I'm so excited to hear your feedback. And then you get the, well, it was okay. I mean, I just kind of thought that there'd be more. I mean, sometimes you watch these shows and it gets so much in an hour. And it was like, and so I just sat, I'm like, we got this tonight. We got this tonight. We got this tonight. We got this, just, and they're like, yeah, it's all right.
With some creative editing, we could have an awesome TV show. Just those 4 little things that I just mentioned.
We did this place called the Mounds Theater, where we had, I mean, every time I go there, it's in St. Paul. It's off the charts. It is off the charts. And every time you get, and that's where we got the, and you're like, oh my God, you really, I mean, what do you need? Do you want, Christ coming down on a cloud in the theater? I mean, what do you want from the, I have this EVP, which I wanted to include, and I didn't get in time, where we're talking and there is like this little girl singing in the background in the theater. It just absolutely, and it was, what she was singing was, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And we didn't know that, but that night we decided that we wanted to sing, like we thought we needed to sing that, and we did it. And someone else was somewhere else, and it was because of the stage, it's a theater, and she was in the wings, and she heard everyone out there singing, if you're happy, you know it, clap your hands. And then next to her in the wings, she heard, and that was the same place too, that we're down in the basement, where there's this entity called Basement, which that's not enough.
That's creative. That is creative.
That is like, oh my God. And I'm talking to people, and everyone's a silhouette, because the lights are off and there was only one light coming down from the stair. And as in paranormal investigators, we're always counting how many people are in a room with us, right? We're always wanting to know who's where and why they're there and everything else. And in my mind, I'm talking, and there's an extra head
in there,
doing that.
And it's a shadow person.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh. And people look and it's gone. And we also, that same night, the projectionist at the Mounds Theater, when it turned to a film theater, his name was Red. He's a bit randy. Okay. And he loved the blondes. He always loved the blondes. And there was one, the woman, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. The woman that was her mother, Marissa Hegarty, her mother, Jane Mansfield.
Yeah,
Jane Mansfield.
And Jane Mansfield. He was a big fan of Jane Mansfield. What happened was, just by chance, a friend of mine who was a big theater buff, he actually used to work with Red. So we had Spirit Box going in the projection room. We had K2. Place was going crazy because my friend David, he was making it all happen. And all of a sudden, and this is where people are like, well, maybe this is real, maybe it isn't, I don't know. I'm like, I pull out the picture, I'm like, can Jane Mansfield come here? And we get this female, and I have the picture of her out, and I'm like, is Jane Mansfield here? And we get, hello, a female voice, hello. And I said, this person Red, that I don't know if you can see him or not, he's a big fan of yours, and he wanted to know you for a very long time. And you get like Red going, hello, and then all communication stops. Everything. I mean, did they go hook up? Did they? Yeah. Did she run away from this guy? Just like, get me the hell out of here. I don't know, but it stopped from being super active to being nothing in seconds.
Yeah, we've had that happen where sometimes it feels like, the energy builds up and builds up and builds up with, things happening, and then something really big happens, and then whoop. Yeah, it's like they just shoot their wad, so to speak. They've run out of energy to communicate, and they're done.
Totally. And that's always because I don't know about you two, but I always feel like, okay, here we go. And then it, like you said, it's just like, and you're like, well, all right. But yet I'm learning to be grateful for those opportunities that I do get, because when they happen, I've been very blessed with some very amazing communication from spirit, for sure.
Yeah,
we have too.
Yeah, really.
For example.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's what got you to, right? I mean,
exactly.
I mean, we do have a lot to. Sarah has a lot to answer for, I think, but
It's all her fault.
it is all of her fault, and I mean, you can't fault her with anything. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And her voice is coming. I mean, it got to the point that I was able to recognize her voice because she was coming through during my stuff so much, and we have a lot of recordings of her just here in my house.
Yeah. And that's what's okay. Let's talk about this a little bit. People talk, and you do it often on your shows, where you at the end of every show you cross over spirits that want to cross over.
Yes.
People often would ask me at Waverly, for example, but they ask it at any location, why don't they move on? Why would they be here? I personally feel like they're wherever the hell they want to be.
Yeah. Well, he's asked Sarah, why aren't you in heaven? She said, this was heaven. This is heaven.
Yeah. I mean, they don't do it unless they want to, or they don't know. The case with the 18 minutes at the Grant House, it was a matter of not knowing and not knowing what to do, and that becomes clear when you hear this whole story. But even like we've had situations at the Palmer House where a guy who accidentally had his threw his wife down the stairs. I mean, there's no accident. It was the heat of the moment. Things got out of hand.
Don't get no ideas.
Yeah, no, I'm just but just know, Ernie, there is a way out. No, that he ended up, he didn't cross because he was afraid of what was waiting for him. Because especially if you're hugely religious, you're going to have an idea of what waits for you if you sin in any possible way. So I've run into that quite a bit.
Here's a theory that I have, and we can talk about it, or we can just blurt it out and move on, whatever you want to do. I feel like for spirits that, like him, they feel like, oh, if I cross over, I'm going to hell.
Exactly.
Okay, you're living your hell right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're here.
Because you're there having this question pounded to you. This is you're in hell.
Yep. I mean, how many times, and maybe this is just me because I'm a wimp, how many times you put off going to like the dentist or something because you are afraid of what's going to happen? Right. I mean, that to me is what it is. And my personal belief, this is just an opinion. People don't get mad because I have an opinion on religion and the afterlife. But the thing is, I feel like you create your own outcome. Right. So if you stole a pack of gum when you're 7 and you were highly religious, and the religious creed was, it's easier to go through a pin in the eye of a needle, whatever, than to a camel to go through the pin of iron needle than to get to the heaven of God. If you believe that, then you just know that you're not going to ever get anywhere. Meanwhile, you might have a dictator who killed millions who personally believed he did nothing wrong.
Right.
And he crosses over because he doesn't think that he did anything wrong. Meanwhile, this person who did the most mildest of not even a crime, they held on to it. They couldn't let it go. I mean, those are extreme cases, but I do think that falls into this situation a little bit where, I mean, I when I do the crossovers on the spirit box session, so I can feel if they're not really wanting to go, but they're piling up. They're literally piling up. And then when I always say, it doesn't matter what you've done in your life, you're not going to be judged. And all of a sudden, literally, you just can feel it coming through. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things, and this, this is a whole chapter in the book, but one of the things that I've learned from communications with Sarah, what she has told me is heaven is not a place. It's not like, the Bible's full of imagery. And like Greg said, don't hate me for, saying these things. The Bible is full of imagery.
Don't hate me.
Right. And, that pearly gates and streets paved of gold was the writer's image of his idea of heaven.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'm not a religious scholar by any means. But for Sarah, heaven is spending time up there with those children that she helped that were very sick, and still being there, still able to relive those moments. And she said, I never saw Niagara Falls in life, but I can go there anytime I want now.
Anytime.
You know,
Absolutely.
things like, I mean, things like that are things that, you know, I mean, when I was putting together her story over time, over the course of many years, many different sessions up there talking with her, it just totally blew my mind when I grasped that concept, you know.
Todd says,
I know, I saw that too.
Yeah. Todd's getting paid for his photography right now. But and I think it's the same with the man who killed her.
He's
who
up
is
there.
still at Waverly too.
We talk to him. He talks to us.
He's living his hell every day.
Yeah.
We have his first and last name and his job description, and we did find that actual first and last name with that job description on the staff roster.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean,
incredible.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker. We don't ever say the name because they're still living relatives. He's one of them.
You know, and here's the thing too. I find when you start saying names, people will go with it, and I don't think that that's always right. You know, I mean, it's
when
like
they come with us with an EVP with that name, we know they found it if we haven't told them.
Exactly, and just like the Grand House thing, you know, it's like we did the thing on Wednesday, and we said, please don't go to the Grand House and just start asking for this kid. Over and over, because let them move on. This is not a permanent fixture of that location,
right?
And the spirits that we know at these locations around the country, you know, every time, like for example, Lizzie Borden, I think it's a great example. I don't think Lizzie's been there for forever, probably.
Her mother is definitely there because I've been several times and have communicated with the mother.
Right, but that would make sense.
The stepmother or the mother?
The stepmother. The mother died early.
Yeah. No, and that would make sense. I just feel like, though, that, you know, and everyone, I mean, and I think that's where, and we always say when we do these classes and stuff, don't let the narrative lead you. And especially Waverly is a great example of that, because people are still, I saw it the other day on the page, 69,000 people killed. That's not true. We all know that's not true.
Right.
No.
And I also feel, now, you know, now that you got me on my soapbox, I also feel like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, you pass away and everything becomes known to you. And I disagree. I think that's just another chapter. You know, like you never leave somewhere and then it's all revealed. It's always about bettering yourself, no matter what your state is.
It's a constant process of learning. You know, you reach your next level of awareness, basically.
Absolutely. That's my thought, at least. I don't know.
I agree completely.
Do you want to hear any more spirit box?
You got more?
Oh, yeah.
I told him to send me this stuff a week ago, and now he's,
I know, right?
Oh, I got shit now.
Well, it's better that he does it because you fumble. We'd have still been sitting here waiting for the first one to come up.
I've been sitting in my room wearing a tin hat for like 4 days. Okay.
I understand.
When I was talking to you the other night, Ernie said, "Are you still talking to Greg?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to talk him off the ledge. I'm trying to keep him distracted because I think he's having a moment."
There's this blue glow in the room. I'm like, what the hell? And she's over there. Greg's got an alien in his butt.
Well, and you probably thought I just like was beamed up or something, because communication just stopped.
You did, and I rolled over and I said, "Hey, Greg just got abducted."
Yeah, he's probably being butt probed right now. I think is what she said. Hey.
Brown starseed was happening. So yeah, no, it was I mean, it was just like I mean, it was like I thought to myself, did I let the battery go down? But if it did, you'd have to hit like, okay, I know that it's 10% or whatever else. And it was like, nope, just stopped. And someone said, oh, it's an iPhone. I'm like, yeah, stop that. I mean, it's just it just stopped though. And then you had phone trouble, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I unplugged my phone the next day, it took a few minutes. It like went off, and I was like, it did that twice that day. I unplugged it from the charger. I mean, my phone's like 1,200 years old, but when I unplugged it,
Jesus owned it.
It's a rock. Her phone
yeah.
is a rock.
I've had my phone since 2018. If that tells you how long, you know how long a cell phone lasts. I've had it since 2018.
Yeah.
That was my old one. I had an iPhone 8 that was with my old company, and then I upgraded to an iPhone 13. So it was like 5 of them that happened since
Mine's the 8 Plus.
I mean, I was just like, what do I do? I mean, I just like, grandpa trying to figure out how the phone works, I'm calling Ma Bell, seeing if she can help. And they're like, no, this is a long time ago, buddy. So yeah,
You got another clip you want to share? And we'll do it.
Oh, now you're trying to be a host. Okay.
I
just didn't understand.
You guys are going down the rabbit hole of iPhones, and I'm not in the
this is not a role you play very often, so I wasn't.
Let me just address something real quick. It just popped back in my mind earlier when you were talking about he was like 3 when you were like 15.
Let's move on.
I want to tell you a story about Ernie being old. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Let's talk about the YouTuber that came up to Waverly. You want to talk
about
you want to tell the story because you do such a good job. Guinea pigs. The guinea pigs want to hear it.
Over there. Is that deliverance happening over here? I mean, what's
okay.
Live presentation
Greg,
of deliverance? Yes.
You're a huge fan of mine, so you can feel for me on this.
The biggest, yes.
I'm going to have to give the pigs some hay or something.
I just mean that by my weight, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple years ago, we had several YouTubers that had rented the building for the night, and they all went off on their own, did their own thing, and acted like they had the building on their own for the night. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, there were several of them there that night, but they were just in different areas doing their own thing. And so the one guy puts out a video of his investigation, and I happen to catch it. I very rarely actually catch those when they do those.
Todd wants to tell the dad story next.
Just worry about feeding the pigs. So this guy puts out his video, and he prefaces his clip of his communication that he got on the 5th floor with Sarah, which was some good communication. But it starts out with just him sitting there in front of the camera in his living room, and he's like, so when we investigated Waverly Hills, we had an amazing host. Our guide was very experienced. He'd spent a lot of time at Waverly. He used to sneak in there as a teenager, he told us, and he had some really great stories from personal experiences and his own investigations up there, and he was amazing. And this guy is the kind of guy, how some people will bullshit you. Well, this is the kind of guy that I'm telling the story. You just worry about yourself. He said, this is the kind of guy that's not going to bullshit you. Okay. I mean, this guy was an older guy. I'd say he was mid 60s, probably. So whoever this
what part of this is not true?
Is and his freaking 5 million viewers can kiss my ass.
Hey Nick, hey Anthony. So Todd says, tell about the dad story.
So just to make sure, the part that wasn't real that you're laughing about is the years of experience.
I had been there for a long time, and I used to sneak in.
I mean, not the age part though, right? I mean.
mid 60s.
Todd was asked one night.
Does that look like a man in his mid 60s, people?
Looks like a man who is. I don't know what this is.
Todd was asked one night how he enjoyed working with his dad.
Yeah. And look at that picture of Todd. Todd is old as dirt. And somebody was senile. Look at me. Look how young and
vibrant.
Let's talk about when you got the senior discount at the hotel.
We don't need to go into all these stories. We got Greg on the show. It's not about me. I mean, it should.
Look, he's looking at the picture. He got a senior discount at one of our hotel stops.
So whatever. Anyway.
The Twilight picture.
The Twilight picture. Yeah, I'm bringing it back.
I'm bringing it back.
You've missed a lot. You need to go back and rewatch this.
Me being the paranormal sensation that I am, obviously, because I'm showing this again. I'm bringing it back.
Yeah,
well, you're all like paranormal. What? Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm parasexy. It's all I can say.
Parasexy. Well, parasexy legs. I know. I mean, from when I saw you at Salina, I know that much is true.
Oh, there you go.
Thankfully for summer that there were shorts involved, right? I mean,
amen.
He got the smooth legs too.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, no, that wasn't on the shirt, Jeremy. That was a whole different. That was a shirtless picture that was on the shirt. Or actually, I had my shirt unbuttoned.
That was a whole.
They auctioned off a shirt with my picture on it. And you were there,
he was
Greg.
there. I'm sure
he bought several raffle tickets.
I bleached my mind from that weekend, and for many reasons. So, I mean, I physically poured bleach in through my ears to hit my brain to stop it from coming through. So
you went full Hillary Clinton on your brain, obviously. Yeah. But anyway, we can't still. You got a show tonight, don't you?
Like 30 minutes.
10. Yeah, 10.
Okay.
10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah.
Well, I'll let you get off here and get you a sandwich or something before your show if you'd like, or we can talk right up to the last minute.
We can talk. I'm going to make a pizza after Ghost Box Live, so that way Ghost Box Live is going to be like 10 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to end the session.
Well, he ate
We're not getting much.
He ate like 4 crackers.
Nothing's coming through.
Nope. Okay. Bye. Good night. Yeah.
Did you want to hear something else? Do you want to hear something
sure,
from
yeah. Let's do it.
How about Villisca?
Villisca, I've heard some really sad stuff come out of Villisca. Char's evidence from there is heartbreaking. And then
That
Brandon
stuff
Alvis has almost an identical recording from there.
That's right. And I think that we're figuring out new stuff every time we get together. That Char and I are trying to piece some stuff together about that, because it's not, we don't think it's as straightforward as it all seems in terms of not the murders, but where we're at now with everything. But when I went in 2014, this was, so what you're going to hear here is the spirit box is going to go, and I'm just going to tell you all what it is, because there's multiple layers to this. Spirit box is going to go, and you're going to hear somebody say Greg, and it didn't sound like through the spirit box, and so I say to the people in the room, did someone say my name? And the spirit box then says, I did. And I said, you know my name, what is your name? And a name comes through. So that's what I'm gonna play right now.
Okay.
If I can find it. There we go.
Greg, what?
Is my name? You said my name. What is your name?
All right, then. We'll play it again.
Okay.
You just removed it.
I'm going to play it again.
Greg, what?
You said my name? You said my name. What is your name?
Okay, I want to say something real quick, and I need to listen to it again, with headphones or something to be clear. But it sounded like while you were talking, there's a young girl's voice that comes through twice. And after you said, did someone say my name? A little girl's voice comes through and says, that was Satan. And then you as you're talking, you want to play it again and listen and see if you hear that.
Yeah, let me find it, because I took it away from you.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to keep this show moving, Ernie. I mean, this is what I do. So
I
can't help myself.
I'm trying to entertain the paying public here, because everybody's paid thousands of dollars.
He's trying
to be
to
part of our
entertain
Patreon.
the
So instead of listening to it, let's just show this for a couple minutes. And
yeah, that's entertainment.
yeah.
Todd, there you go. There's cha-ching.
Yeah, there you go. I put
All
it
right,
back.
here we go again. See, folks, see if you hear a young girl's voice underneath everything else that says that was Satan.
Greg, what?
You said my name? You said my name. What is your name?
Right after I did came up on the screen, you can hear the Satan part of it in the little girl's voice.
I do hear something that certainly falls within that. I would have to put it through like Audition or something and kind of break it down a little bit, because that would be pretty incredible. Because I think we all in agreement that we don't think. Are you guys going to be arrested?
Yeah, we have a fire department right behind us.
Sure.
Fire station.
I
you
think
do.
they found Ernie.
Yeah, I think don't be shy. I get it.
Well, it happens. I've been locked up many times. I've got a long criminal record.
But I mean, that's the sort of thing. And the thing about the voice that said I did, which now to me is so prominent. Someone else just about a year ago said, after we played it, like, do you hear that? And I listened, like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's really interesting. I'm gonna definitely listen to it. I mean, that's cool. If that's the case, that is really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't think it's Satan, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean spirits will try to fool you into. They'll call themselves demons. They'll say they're Satan. All these things, and I never believe it.
No.
But it's still creepy when you get it.
I've had Satan stay at my house, but that's something completely different.
I've been married a couple of times.
I mean, we must have had the same wife, because I was married.
I was like, but you ain't now.
No. I have another one, if you so desire, from from the soap factory in Minnesota that we were shooting for our highly successful web series that was seen by tens of people, and
awesome.
we were, after we shot, and I had my friend was shooting it. He's a videographer, and he hadn't been part of any of this before, and he's down with us in the basement afterwards, and we're just like, oh, let's just try a spirit box. And I wasn't using SB7, I was using the Shack Hack, and I saw something shadowy and dark move between us, and I don't mean like dark like a dark entity. It's like, this seems like a dog. So you're going to hear me say, is somebody's dog here? And then we get an answer.
Okay.
Somebody's dog here?
Isn't that incredible?
That's awesome. Let's play that again, because that is just clear as a bell and no question about what was said.
Why do you keep taking it off when you
Is
say
somebody's
to play
dog
it?
here?
You're
Yeah,
not allowed
that's
to have
cool.
the clicker anymore.
If you know the story of William at Waverly Hills, that reminds me of something that happened to us up there, because that is clear as a bell, and that's awesome. He had a dog that was named Sadie.
Okay.
And we were in there doing a spirit box session with an SB7, and a girl asked, "Do you miss Sadie?" And clear as a bell, you hear a gruff male voice say, "My doggy."
Oh, that's amazing.
And
I mean, yes,
it chokes me up sometimes just telling the story, because that's just cool.
That is cool, and that they never let go.
Yeah,
they're always and the thing about that, I mean, and if you break it down as far as like people like talking about whether spirit boxes really work or not, it's like you heard that voice. It was a full sentence, and it was the same voice throughout all that. That is impossible.
Right.
That is impossible. And secondly, I had someone that said to me after I played it, and everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. I mean, I break this stuff down pretty well. I'll go through syllable by syllable, but everyone has their right to disagree. But someone said to me, that's my dog. And I'm like, oh, what is it? And she's like, that's my frog. And I'm like, really? And she goes, no, that's very clear. That's my frog. So when I ask if this is somebody's dog, the response was, that's my frog. Yep, that's what I heard.
Let's play it again and see if we hear frog. Let's see.
Is somebody's dog here?
Yep, definitely frog.
Yep,
definitely frog.
No. I wish they would have just said Kermit. That's my Kermit. That would have been so much more obvious.
Yeah, William's favorite color.
Yeah. We asked William once, because William was a military guy.
Oh, sure.
We asked him what his favorite color was one night, and clear as a bell, he said camo.
Oh, wow.
And we thought
That is
that's pretty cool.
fantastic.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Brad said he hears cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my it totally is cat. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no doubt
definitely cat.
about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my leopard. That's what I heard.
That's my chinchilla. Yeah.
We once, and I don't have the recording on my computer. We once went to a place called Four Paws in St. Paul, which was a very haunted restaurant, and we were able to do a paranormal investigation there. And we got this guy that we knew was there named George. And I asked him the question. I said, George, what is your rank? And the response was, his voice was, yeah, Sergeant. And so I play that back. And at the we do a teach out. We did a teach out there, and we played all the evidence back, and we played that. And the guy who was one of the managers of Four Paws, he kind of surprised me, and he said, Greg, I just want to let you know we did some research. We found George. We found out who he was, and he was a sergeant.
That's pretty
And that was like, and the thing is, it's like, what we just did? We let people know who somebody is.
Yeah.
That they weren't forgotten.
Yeah.
And that's really
our job.
It is our job. It's what it is all about, I think.
Yeah.
And frogs.
Yeah,
Jobs and frogs.
We got to take care of the frogs that have passed.
And that's why we drink out of special straws now, so that the frogs can live.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, those dissolving straws that are
February
awesome.
8th at Old Stone Jail, Todd's bringing up.
Oh, yeah.
Necrophonic.
That was necrophonic. And this is the thing that convinced us that necrophonic could give legit, serious evidence.
Mm-hmm.
We were at Old Stone Jail in a cell where a man had been murdered. Okay. It was written off as a suicide.
Black man in
the 50s somehow manages to get a gun into his jail cell and shoots himself in the chest from 6 feet away.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, we did not know the date that this had occurred or anything.
We knew it had happened.
We knew it had happened.
We
We didn't know exactly when it had happened. It was, it's documented. We found out later, but we had not done that research. We just heard that story that night. So we were investigating based on it. And I said, when did this happen to you? And clear as a bell through necrophonic, we hear February 8th. So I went to Bill Wilkerson and I said, does the date February 8th mean anything at all? He said, let me go check. And he goes back into the records. He's the curator of the Historical Society down there, works, he's got access to all these records. He gets in the computer and he finds the newspaper article dated Saturday or
Thursday.
Yeah.
It was dated Thursday,
February 13th, 1956 or whatever. We've got the paper around here somewhere because he printed it out for us. And it talks about a man. It says this past Saturday night. So if you go back from Thursday the 13th to that past Saturday night, that's February 8th. A man was shot. An inmate shot himself at the Old Stone Jail after somehow getting possession of a deputy's pistol.
Right.
Wow.
We had no idea. I mean, even the curator didn't know what the date meant. He had to find the
I mean, he was wide-eyed, came running to us like, look, check this shit out. And
yet,
there it was.
But yet there's people who don't believe that spirits can communicate with us.
Right. Exactly.
And that's their prerogative.
Well,
no shade.
Talking about being called out for his broken foot at Waverly. He was using necrophonics. We introduced him to necrophonic at Waverly, and he had a broken foot at the time. And I think it was Sarah that called him out.
He kept saying you're hurt, or
She
I forget exactly what she said, but it was clear they were talking to Brad about his injury. Hello, Annette. Hello, everybody.
Annette.
I have personally never been to Trans-Allegheny.
Neither have I.
So I can't talk about Lily at Trans-Allegheny. There's several people in the chat here who might know about that, but I've never been there. I want to go there, but have never been.
I tell you why I haven't been there, and I'm not calling anybody out for anything. I'm just disappointed because it's so much money and there's several buildings and you only get like one building.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if I'm gonna pay that much money, I'd like to have access to more than one building.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I mean it's tough, and I'm not someone who runs like a Honda
Yeah.
location, but I mean it's getting tougher and tougher in some locations. Some are amazing, some are fantastic.
I just don't know how you choose which building. How do you know what building you
Yeah.
want if you've never been there, you know?
Right.
I've had a nostalgic streak in me, and I've been thinking about McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas, and I'll be
That's
honest,
a beautiful home.
it's one of
I need that house.
one of the most active places I've ever been, where it's consistently will not disappoint. It just will not disappoint. It's really, really incredible.
We are looking at a house. I don't know if we're going to get it or not because we might be in a bidding war right now. If we do, it was built in 1841?
1841.
And it was a Civil War hospital. And we saw things when we were just doing the walkthrough. So we might be able to let some friends come visit us if anybody was interested in coming and visiting every once in a while. If we get it. Everybody say a prayer.
Right. I'll tell you, when I went out to Gettysburg in July of 2021, I stayed at an Airbnb of a house that was built in 1850 something. And that place was off the hook, active, where I just remember looking in the kitchen and I see this wisp, the straight wisp, walking, like gliding through the kitchen. And I'm just like, shit. You know, I'm just like, what? And then I go upstairs and it's really heavy and stuff. And then I was on, I was doing a Facebook thing with Psychic Medium, and behind, and she's talking to me, and I see a shadow on the wall in front of me move, and I look at her, and her eyes are just like. And I'm like,
don't you love it when the people that
other
see
people
it,
are seeing it?
And I'm like, what did you see? Because she wouldn't have seen my shadow.
Right.
You know what I mean? She wouldn't see my shadow. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she said, this is what she did. Nothing. Like, no, what did you see? I didn't see a thing.
Well,
like, you did see something. She goes,
I was
someone
describing
walked
the guy
behind
I
you.
saw at the house, and he pulled one up and was like, "Is this who you saw?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I pulled up one of the Civil War brigadier general that would have been at that hospital at the time.
I said there was an officer at the top of the stairs, and I was trying to describe him. So Ernie starts investigating to see who it might be. I'm trying to go to sleep, and he like wakes me up. Is this it? Is it it? And I was like, yeah, that is actually.
I'll answer this real quick, Annette. And Greg, you can chime in too. Denise, we can all hit this one. Do you all think spirits are picky with whom they communicate with? I think
it's energy.
Absolutely.
I think they pick up on your energy.
The energy you bring to an investigation or an attempted communication of any kind has 100% to do with whether or not you're going to get anything in return.
Totally. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And that's why you always go into everywhere with love and light. You know, I know that's cliched, but I think it's 100% true that, you know, even though we call it love and light, you just call it respect. You just call it being kind to like anyone who'd be sitting. I mean, you know, unless they, you know, take their time and make pictures like this. I mean, you should always be respectful to everybody else. But, you know, I mean, I just think, I mean, that's just it. And I do think that there's a difference. And I also feel like, too, like we talked earlier, that it doesn't mean, like, we've been doing this for a very long time. It doesn't mean that
been doing their whole life, like 80 years.
Shut the fuck up. Actually, my parents were ghost hunters. I was born into this life. I've always done it.
Right. It's always there. And then you could still have somebody who has been doing it very, very shortly or not at all. And suddenly they're the center of attention.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not a matter of, I mean, you know, we say it all the time. It's cliche also. There's no experts in this field. I mean, some of us have done it a lot more than others, and we might have learned some things not to do. But as far as learning the right things to do, other than, like you said, love and light and coming with a positive energy and an openness, there's nothing I can
I
say is the right way or the wrong way.
kind of one thing that Greg kind of said earlier, like I've been doing this my whole life, all 29 years. And there might be somebody that's just started it and been doing it for 6 months. But for me to not listen when they're trying to explain their things to me makes me, I might miss out on something because they're coming in with new energy, new thoughts, new processes. They might be able to still teach me something. So to go in and act like you know everything and don't need education is not the way to do it.
No, but I do think that our roles as elder statespeople in this field is to educate, if it's needed, and not to like weigh down anybody with this is not the way we should do it, but to be there if they need the help. I mean,
absolutely.
One of the first things I learned, my very first public paranormal investigation, they call it ghost hunt, which I hate that term. One of the first things that they I remember doing a spirit box session, and somebody from another team, they had a spirit box, and they're just like, all they were doing, like, the thing is going like, you want to talk to me? Do you want to talk to me? It's like, nobody wants to talk to you, the living or the dead. What's wrong with you? No,
you're coming off like a tool right now.
Totally a tool. Yes.
I think that the TV shows have a lot to do with that, and the YouTube channels and all that. It's all about entertainment, and they try to put on a show, and that's not how to communicate. I mean, we go in and we talk to them. I mean, it's just like when we go squatching, and this is totally off topic from what we've been talking about. We go squatching with a guy named Greg Yost, Squatchman. He doesn't go out there and beat on trees. He doesn't go out there and howl in the woods or anything like that. He goes out there and he holds his hands up like this. He says he does that to let them know he doesn't have no tricks up his sleeve, no weapons, no nothing.
Yep.
And he talks to them. And we get amazing activity. And it's the same kind of approach with us when we're going. We just sit down and talk. And a lot of times we get our best communication when we're not trying to communicate with them. When we're talking amongst ourselves.
Absolutely.
Annette asked, how do you spot a fake from a real? Sometimes it's hard, Annette. I mean,
sometimes they come in picture form.
Yeah, that's a fake version of me.
It's really, I mean, I'd like to say there's a surefire way to spot a fake from a real, but I mean, sometimes it's just, I mean, we've all been fooled, I think.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, though. When someone you don't know comes up with something, are you like what they consider to be evidence or whatever? Is your first inclination to be a little bit harder? Like you're going to have to really convince me, because I personally come from the point of generally, if I don't know the person, they come up with something, I'm going to be skeptical. I think more at first.
I'm very skeptical. I think I'm more so than him, because he'll show me stuff sometimes and I'll question him, and
she's an asshole about
because I'm like, because I think he gets overly excited sometimes. You get overly excited sometimes, and I have to bring him back down to reality and be like, okay, did you think about this?
But vice versa. I've shut you down on potential evidence.
Not very often,
yes,
I'm usually right.
I'm usually self-righteous about all this shit.
Oh yeah, let's bring this up right here.
What?
Let's bring this up.
What?
Your Cherokee battle cry at the Ross Opera House. That's what he calls it, a Cherokee battle cry.
There's
a recording.
It's on a recording.
There's a recording.
It's on a recording. And it was actually the appropriate response. In Cherokee, what I said was, you better get the hell away from me if you know what's good for you, woman.
But what it actually sounded like was...
Yeah. That's what it actually sounded like. But
right, but you were summoning...
Translate that.
Summoning your guides.
Yeah. No, sure. When you're sitting in a place and your attention is focused here, down, we were up in the balcony of an opera house, right? Our attention was focused down on the stage. And I happened to glance over, and there's a woman that should not have been there, that did not exist, standing right here. And I went, like Absolutely. That, something like that.
Yep. No, I get it. And I'll tell you also, sometimes, when people come with evidence, especially at a Paracon, and this is not, I know it sounds really shitty, But I remember one guy came to me, and I was in a booth, and my really good friend John from another team was right next to me, and we get along really well. Love it. And this guy comes up to me, and you can see the photo book is like massive, and he's like, I just want to share with you some of the pictures I've taken on my paranormal investigations. And I said, you know what? That is great. But John over here is our photo expert. Why don't you go over there? And he's like, okay, sounds good. And he goes over there and he starts talking to John, and John just kind of does this.
I hate
To
you,
me.
Greg.
I do that to him.
Yeah.
I got the chair over here.
It depends on the situation. Like, okay,
I try to do it gently. I try
Yeah.
to, and if it's somebody that's just a novice or hasn't been doing it very long, I might not necessarily shoot it down. Oh yeah, good, fine. Not because I'm trying to encourage them that it's wrong, but I don't want to discourage them from keeping at it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a jerk. I'm not like, this is bullshit. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'd like to sometimes, but it's like
Yeah.
at the same time, like, it's why is it my place to do that? And why, you know, what if I'm wrong? I mean,
Exactly.
honestly, I
Right.
mean, it's it's also intent, you know, like if someone like I said, the guy who scratched himself at that event, that's a lot different than somebody who comes up and who are just really excited to be there, really, and like, I think I caught something. For me to
Yeah.
be like, you are wrong, and I
Right.
hate you. You know, I mean, I mean, that would be my first instinct, obviously, but
Yeah.
obviously
Hate
it's more like, oh, no. I mean, yeah, maybe. You know, when you hear me say, when I look at something like, yeah, maybe that's what that is, that means I don't believe it, but I'm not going to be a
Right.
jerk about it.
Yeah, same
Right.
here. We had a woman a couple years ago on a public overnight at Waverly that took a picture, and everybody's got it on their phones now, that night view photo mode on your phone where it
Oh,
takes the long exposure
yes,
shots.
yes.
And she snapped this picture, and someone walked through it's clear as a bell to me because the shoes are in focus. Okay. Everything else is a blur.
Yep.
She was convinced it was a shadow person. And I tried to explain to her, no, you're using the night. Because I mean, the sky in the background is lit up. It was 3 a.m. Okay. You used a long exposure shot and someone walked through here.
Yep.
I tried to explain it to her. Well, that photo somehow is now all over the internet as one of the greatest ghost captures ever at Waverly Hills.
No.
And I explained it to her that night, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Northwest
she was
Paranormal.
convinced.
We do not have the photo because
You can find that. You could find that.
You could probably find it, but yeah, we don't have that.
Just look for ghost photo captured at Waverly Hills, and you'll probably see it's outside on the roof. There's a figure that walks there on the 5th floor shooting through the through the Lord. Greg's got to go. We got to get him off of here. So
it's 9:59. Can we do this? Can we do this at some point? Because Annette's on here, and she's the one that gave me the business on Sunday about not being on. So, you know, I just, you know, I don't want her to
let's
get angry again. Yeah, exactly. Can we do this though? Some night, without it being like a show or something, we should do a live where we just still shoot the shit.
We can do that anytime.
Yeah.
We can. We got our own StreamYard. We're not on any networks, not tied to anything.
Yeah, we could just do it. And I could just put it. I can run it. You can run it. Whatever else. And then, I mean, because this is fun, and I do want to go. Only not want to go, but I do have an obligation. So absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, switch over to look for Ghost Box Live.
Yep.
Find Greg Bakun. Find him on Facebook. He'll put it up on his personal page too. And tune in with us. We'll probably be on there.
We'll see y'all in the chat on there.
We'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you, Greg. It's always great talking to you, and we'll be talking to you on your show, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So we'll do this again sometime. Take care, guys.